Hi everyone, and let's get started in week one. Before we get into the specifics of space diplomacy, we need to talk about some of the basics of space, such as the missions, the satellites, and the orbits. The mission of the satellite a lot of times dictates what orbit it's in. For example, a communications satellite will most likely be in a geosynchronous orbit, whereas a reconnaissance satellite will probably be in a low Earth orbit. So we'll talk a little bit about satellites and what type of orbits they're in. We'll also talk about the harsh environment of space. 60 nations today have a presence in space, and about 11 nations have an indigenous launch capability, which means they can launch their own satellites. But a majority of these nations want a peaceful space domain. Nobody really wants a conflict in space right now. Not even Russia and China want a conflict in outer space. That could just mean catastrophe for everybody. In chapter 1 in our book, we look at those basics of space. Satellites, the missions, and the orbits that they're in. And we'll also talk about the harsh environment. Satellites have to live in an environment where there's extremely low temperatures, radiation, debris, meteorites, and gravity. They all have to contend with all of these issues in space. So it's a very harsh environment to live in. Not only satellites, but also humans have to deal with the same kinds of things. So we'll look at that in chapter 1. In chapter 2, we look more about the history, which is a very good. I like history because I'm a student of history. So we'll look at the history of space from the launch of Sputnik in 1957 till about the year 2000. We'll look at the development of civilian and military space programs on both the United States side and the Russian side. We'll see some of the benefits that space assets have delivered, both on the military side and also on the economic side. The final point for week 1 is some of the future development on the civilian and the military side. We'll see where nations are going in the 21st century. The forum this week is just simply an introductory forum. Just tell the class a little bit about yourself, why you're in this class, and what kinds of things you'd like to get out of this class. If you have any questions, please ask, and let's get going. Thanks.